Hello everyone and welcome back to Paper Peony. I'm Kimberly Jones and I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up. I am glad to be back. This is my very first tutorial since August, and so I'm glad to be back with you guys. I am going to be using Be My Valentine out of the new mini spring catalog that is active till April. And so I do have some announcements to make before we get started on this really cute bee card. One is, if you're new to Stampin' Up, they come out with various catalogs throughout the year. There is an annual catalog that you can see. Any of these catalogs and any products that I use today, you can see on my website linked below. It's the Stampin' Up website. It shows the catalogs, it shows the products, it shows everything that you need to see, even some ideas as well on my website. This is the mini catalog that is active through January through April, and this is the B set is on page 8 through 10. And you can get the suite, which is all of it, the designer series paper, the ribbon, which you can see right here, which is a really cute ribbon. It's the sweet sorbet color. You can also get these really cute gemstones, which are really, really adorable. They're flowers and hearts in 4 different colors, 5 different colors. The pillow boxes, which is like a really cute little gift box that you can put candies in. And then you get the bundle, which is the stamp set and the punch, and you're saving 10% by buying them together since it's a new product. You can get just the stamp set and the punch at 10% off, or you can get the whole thing. And I love all of it, and if you love all of it, it's easier just to do the whole suite. But the only thing you're going to save on by buying together is the stamp set and the punch. Everything else is just, if you add up the $75, it's going to come to just individual cost. So that is the suite. Here are the colors that coordinate. They give you a good idea as to, what colors to purchase or use that coordinate with the papers. And then just the bundle is on page 10. So if you didn't want to get the papers or the embellishments, then that's where you would find that. And then this month through the end of February is Celebration. Celebration comes out once a year, and it's kind of like a gift to the customers. What you do is, if you purchase $50 or more, for every $50 you spend, you get to choose a product out of this catalog for free. So level 1 would be your $50, and then if you spend $100, then you can get $100 priced one, and then $150 will get you the Jungle Pals dies and stamp set, and you will see me use some really cute, elaborate projects with this one later. But that is Celebration. If you spend $150, then you get Hostess perks, and you can get 10% of free items from your purchase, and then also get up to 3 items in this Celebration book for free. So it's a great offer. If you're interested in possibly doing this as a business, or actually doing it as a hobby demonstrator and save 20% on your products, by signing up, you will get $125 worth of product of your choice for only $99. But that is always the standard. What's extra is, for Celebration, they have brought in this glass mat, which is just awesome. All the demonstrators are going nuts over it. It has 2 rulers, both metric and imperial. It also is a wipe off, so you can wipe off inks and watercolors and even glue. It comes with this stick-on paint palette, I want to call it. You can put ink spots in here. Ink spots will fit in here just perfect, just like that. You can use this as embossing paste. You can put paste and stuff in this to use on your projects, and this wipes clean. And then the other thing that comes with it is a chamois or a wipe-off cloth, and mine has been used, as you can see it. It's definitely not new, but it wipes off anything that gets on your glass mat as you're doing your projects, which I love, because if you stamp inks and things like that and you're stamping off of your project, it's going to get on your surface. And so it's easy just to wipe it off to avoid having mess ups on your project and having to redo them. And the other thing is this also wipes off your stamps from ink. So it's also a stamp cleaner. So perfect add-on, and it's worth $65. So you can either add this onto your starter kit, or you can get, I believe, it's either $25 or $35 worth of extra product for free of your choice. So it's a wonderful time to sign up if you're interested. Okay, so that's the news I had to share with you. So we will be doing this cute little Petal Pink and Melon Mambo and Flirty Flamingo card. This is one of the simple ones that I've got going on. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to need, we're going to be using the Be My Valentine bundle, the punch and the stamp set. And then we're also going to be using this little cute postage background. It comes from Perennial Postage Dies. And these are found in the mini catalog as well. And this comes with the lavender suite if you're looking for it. But here is the one that I used for my background for my bee. And you also get squares, and you get this little banner punch or die right here to use with your die cut machine. And I use that in one of the future projects using vellum. And so look out for that one. But very cute die set, and it's very versatile. Now, this is how you'll get your dies when you purchase your dies. You'll also see me in future videos using magnetic plates to store my dies on, because it's just so much easier just to get them off of magnetic sheets. So look out for that, and I'll explain that more in detail as I use that. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing let's go ahead and stamp our bee. Now, because I don't want to get my table dirty, I am going to bring in this glass mat and use it for my stamp surface. So the first thing we're going to do, the inks that I'm using with this project is Flirty Flamingo and then Melon Mambo. Now, this is the older ink pad. I've had this forever, and that's the great thing about our ink pads. They last forever. You also can purchase ink refill bottles, and then that way you don't have to replace your ink pad. And it is a little bit cheaper. However, they last a long time, and the newer versions are a lot more juicy. They are stored upside down, so it's always inked and fresh when you open them up, and they just pretty much pop in place like that. Also, you get stickers, a variety of stickers, one to put on the outside that has the name on the outside, and then also one that's solid where you can put in the well of your ink pads, so that way when your ink pads are open, you can actually see what color you're using. This comes beneficial for when you're using like dark colors, and that way it's easy to know what you're using. Okay, so I'm using Flirty Flamingo on the body. And this little round stamp is the body. Now, with this punch, when you get punches that have multiple things on it, it's very smart to make a template. I know how it's going to punch. That's why I am stamping sideways like this in a strip form. But if you'll see, like when I go to punch this out, I'm going to want it sideways, okay? The great thing to do with this is if you have a Post-it or a piece of cardstock, Post-it notes, it tends to be a little easier. If you go in and you punch your whole entire punch, then you can use this as your template when you're going to stamp, and then you'll know exactly where to stamp your images when it's easier for you to punch. So keep that in mind. Because I'm only doing this and the wing separate, it doesn't seem to matter. But when you are wanting to do all three at the same time or make the most use out of your cardstock, it's easier to use your template. That way, when you stamp it, you'll know exactly that it's going to punch correctly. I can't tell you how many times I've stamped it this way on a long sheet of paper and it doesn't stamp correctly, or punch correctly. So, okay, and then I've got the stripes for the bee on the back side of my block, taking full advantage of 2 stamps on one block. If you're limited on your blocks, that's a perfect way of doing it. Okay, and then because of the sake of being able to get this correct, I'm just going to turn it sideways for now. You want to line this up with the stinger, and then that way the stripes will be perfect every time. So I'm going to stand over this a little bit to make sure I get it right. Okay, and then there's your bee. Okay, and while I have my Melon Mambo out, I'm using the vellum for the wings. And I'm going to stamp the wing twice. Okay. And then I'm also going to stamp it twice on the white that's up here. Okay, like so. Looking forward in my project, I also stamped the You're as Sweet as Honey and Melon Mambo on the bottom. So I'm bringing in my 4 by 5 1/4 petal pink, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that as well. And this is You're as Sweet as Honey, and this is the stamps. This is a stamp that's in that B set. You're as Sweet as Honey. Okay, so that details all of my stamping. Well, with the exception of the face and the antennas. I just noticed that. Okay, so on this one, I did the smiley face. There are four faces in this stamp set. And let's go ahead and do the smiley face real quick on the B before I punch him out. Okay. And then on this postal die that I've already pre-dyed or pre-cut for the sake of the video, I'm also going to go ahead and do my antennas. You can do this if you have an idea as to where your bee is going to go, if you forecast or predict where your bee is going to go, you just want to come up a little high on your die, because then that way your bee is not off of the die when you mount it. Okay, so there's all of the stamping. Okay, so now on these wings, what I did is I used petal pink, and I actually put this away, not thinking I was going to need it. Here's dark petal pink, and then let me find the light petal pink. Okay, so here are the petal pink blends. If you're new to Stampin' Up! And new to alcohol markers, these are our Stamping Blends markers. And when you purchase them by color, and you'll get a light and a dark version, and it's for blending purposes. That way, it gives more definition to your coloring. So there's a light and a dark, and there's also a fine point and a brush point. And if you look here on the cap, you'll see that this is a wider and this is a more narrow coloring. So for this, because I am actually coloring this and I'm wanting to do this pretty quick, this is the light petal pink, and I'm just going to come in here and just color these wings. This is the great thing about stamping on white, is if you're limited and you don't have the color cardstock, you can always use your markers or like watercolor it with the ink pads to make it the color that you need it to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and punch out our B and all of our stuff that we need. And the other thing you've got to keep in mind is you've got to have this where it's narrow enough to go into your punch. I did not do that. Okay. So I'm going to come in here and punch out my B. Okay. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to punch my wings out. And this is a heart. The wing is going to be the heart. And then you're going to do the same thing with the vellum. Now, usually on vellum, the only ink that will really work is StazOn, because it is a solvent ink and it stamps on non-porous surfaces. So you can stamp on vellum and window sheets, glass, things like that. But if you give it time to air dry, or you use your embossing gun to heat it, then it should be okay. Vellum is really thin, and so using heat on it, it's going to cause it to curl up. So it's best just to let it air dry. Okay, so we have our wings, and then we have everything stamped and ready to go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and build our card. So here is a 4 1/4 by 8 or I'm sorry, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5. And when it's folded, it's going to fold like a book. And I'm using my bone folder to give that crisp fold here, okay? And then I'm going to use this Petal Pink honeycomb print that comes in the Designer Series paper. And the backside are these really cute bees. I hate giving these bees up, but the honeycomb works better on this project. Okay, so we're going to glue down the Petal Pink background onto the white, and this happens to be 1/4 inch shy of the card base. And this is 4 by 5.25. This is 2 by 5.25. Okay. Then we're going to use 3D dimensions. When you purchase these are in the adhesive section of our catalog, our annual catalog. And they're pretty popular. You get 300. It's 100 per sheet, so you get 3 sheets. Pretty inexpensive, and they just give a raised look to your project. Okay, so we're just going to put that kind of right there in that area right there. Okay, we're also going to pop dot our bee, but before we do that, I'm going to use like a normal size glue dot. Glue dots come on a circle like roll. And what I do is I just take the back of my bee and I just do one on this side, back side of the bee, one on this side. And because they're so sticky, you'll be able to get your wings stuck just so perfect. And because I'm using a normal size one, then it's going to be easy for me to get both of my wings on here together. Okay. And you just kind of want to play with it until you're happy with where your wings are. Sometimes it's easier just to sandwich them before you glue them down. And it kind of looks like the bee is kind of fluttering. That's kind of why I wanted to go with the vellum on top of the regular. Okay, and so our bee is ready to mount onto our project. And just kind of paying attention where your antennas are, because you want the bee to be right below them. Okay, so the last thing I did on this is I used our blends in both Melon Mambo and Flirty Flamingo, and I colored in some of these different cells to this honeycomb to kind of give it some interest. So you're just going to come in and you're just going to color a couple of these. And the little hexagons. And it's kind of fun to kind of experiment with different colors. Just because Stampin' Up! Makes their printed paper certain colors doesn't mean that you can't play with it and change those colors. We have black and white cardstock, and you can use inks and markers to color them like you want them. I think it would be interesting to try a shade of blue and do a blue bee with this Petal Pink. It'd be kind of interesting. And then we're going to go into something a little bit darker. Now, for the fact that you're using a small area to color, I would strongly not suggest using the brush tip, because it is more for like larger surfaces to color. And let's go up here and color one of these edges here just for interest, and then here. And as you can see, you can go as little detail or more detailed as possible. Let me turn this sideways so I make sure I don't color the wing. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do just for the sake of the video. But you can color as many as you want or as little as you want. Okay, and so the last thing is pretty much just embellishing this. I used our Rhinestone Basic Jewels, and they look like this. Of course, it's a full sheet, but they're also self-adhesive, so it makes it easy to put them on your projects. But they're also where you can color them with the blends. So I'm going to color these, and I used Petal Pink on this one, but I think I'm going to try to change that up a little bit and show you what it looks like with using Melon Mambo. And when I color these stones, using the brush tip I find is a little bit easier because it colors more free, if that makes sense. It's just it covers more surface, and so it's just easier to color. Okay, so then I'm going to use my tool here, which has a putty end, which is easy for pickup. Like if you have like little stones or whatever to pick up, it picks up real easy. And then it also comes with this this pick side, and this is great for like when you do elaborate die cuts and there's a lot of pieces left in your die cuts, you can poke them out. Okay, and there's refills to the putty, so you can just purchase new putty picks and instead of buying a new tool. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to, let's just put that one there. Okay, so there's my stones. And see, this one's just a little bit darker, so it's a little bit brighter. Okay, and then the last thing I did on this, and I don't know if you can see, I used our Wink of Stella glitter pen. Okay, and here it is right here. And when you hear that ball rolling around, you'll know that it's inking up. But what I also like to do is, because it is a brush, I kind of dab it out and make sure it's coming out before I put it on my project so I don't get a big glob of it. And I just kind of accent the stripes that aren't dark. So it just kind of brings a little bit more color to the bee. And when it dries, it's going to be really glittery. So that's the Wink of Stella. And that is we sell this. It's in the embellishments section. Okay, and then I also, if you can look, I made some of these, the color, or actually some of the other ones, I actually made them glossy. Okay, so I used our fine tip glue pen. This is found in the adhesive section as well. And you're just going to go in. It comes out pretty quick, so you have to watch. It comes out real liquidy. But when you use this, you want to be careful not to touch it because it is very sticky. And it takes about 30 minutes to dry when you're using it. I've used this to imitate ice on cards and projects. I love this stuff. And you're going to see it in upcoming cards as well. Let's go ahead and color this one as well. Okay, so when you use this, you're just going to want to make sure it's your last thing that you do. That way you don't have to set it aside and then come back to it. Okay, so the thing I want to show you and tell you about this is if you're not using this, you want to keep the cap on it, because if you take the cap off and leave it overnight without the cap on it, it's going to dry up and it's not going to be where you can use it ever again. Okay, and because if you don't have really good eyes, you want to line up the needle with your index finger like you just saw me do, and then it will just glide on there. Okay, so keep the cap on the bottle. Okay, and there you have it. It will dry just like the other one that I did, and this is the card that we've done. So I hope you love this little bee like I do. He's pretty cute and pretty fun to work with. And visit my website, look at the catalog, see the products. There's a lot of product in that mini catalog that is just eye-catching and adorable. And if you have questions, leave me comments on my page and I will get back with you on it. I hope to see you in the upcoming videos, and have a great day. Bye-bye.